Hello everyone, welcome to the Flight Sim Deck. We're currently coming through 14,000 feet on approach into Oakland, California, and I'm about to experience an engine failure. And this is something I've never done in the Zibo Mod before. Did it in the PMDG many years ago, and we want to experience one to try to land it with a single engine. It's good to practice that and also fun. And X-Plane 11 has a wide range of failures that you can apply. Now there goes the number one engine. It has failed. I'm going to turn off the master caution. We're going to keep the autopilot on just to manage it for us while we do these things, and we're going to turn the auto throttle off. You want to make sure that the number one engine lever is at idle, which they already are because we're on a descent. We're going to come up and turn the pack off for the affected side, and then we need to get that APU generator started as well. We're going to come through 10,000, so we're turning the lights on. And we're just going to wait for that to start up. And for now, we're good. We're going to continue. Actually, I need to make sure. Did that actually turn on? Just looking at the EGT. Yep, it's going. Okay, APU is starting now. Coming through 11,000. We're about an hour into our flight. Left to San Diego. And made our way up north. Just waiting for the engine to throttle back a little bit, and then we can turn off the cutoff lever. Which we'll go ahead and do so now. We also need to set TA instead of TARA. Set the auto brake as we are making our way in. APU is on, so we're going to turn on the generator for that affected side. Turn the autopilot back on. It turns off when you turn on that generator. And we're pretty good to make this approach. We're going to keep using these spoilers on and off. We want to keep our speed below 250, somewhere around 220 on that one engine. We'll be managing that on our own. Now it does still windmill a little bit. That's from the very fast airflow that's hitting it. It's going to turn those blades still. We could, in this situation, actually relight it and get a start, but that's not the goal here today. The goal is to land on that single engine. Now, this is something I want to do a little more on the channel. Various aircraft, engine failures, fires, different things like that. Kind of trying to reinvent what I'm doing. I've done successful flights for so long. It's also fun to do them when they're not so successful, and that's a big deal of what these simulators are used for, especially with the major airlines. They're constantly practicing for things like this, so they're ready in case they happen in the real world. Just went below 10,000 feet. Got the beautiful clouds running from enhanced skyscapes. And we're about to head down into a little bit. Just got this small layer here, and then it should be clear. Currently on a 305 heading. Our course heading today is going to be 296. We're speeding up a little bit, so we're going to need the spoiler here. If it'll work. Come on. Oh, come on. There we go. There we go. The struggles of simming with a mouse to click these things. I got that new honeycomb throttle set up, but I haven't really used it yet. I haven't set it up. I'm trying to do a standalone sim setup off to the side, so I'm waiting until I get all that hooked up to really use it. But it would have helped. Just got a little bit of mountains, and we're about to hit some of that mountain turbulence right now. That's It's even more fun on a single engine. Except the plane's handling it now, so... Or I mean the autopilot. We do actually need to trim the rudder a little bit for this loss of power. There we go, that should be fine. That'll help us out a bit. Especially on the final approach.
Morning, North Tower approach, 265. Tower approach.
Going down to 210, we're going to start configuring the flaps.
182 flanked off 6 miles southeast Hayward, 2,100, climbing 5,500, launching operation on coast.
Now going into Oakland still, I mean we were close enough to where we didn't have to go to another airport. The fuel should be fine. Sometimes if you're going to be on this engine for a little while, you're going to have to balance out the tanks, but it should be fairly balanced. There goes one notch of flaps.
Number 5 Tango Charlie, defend and maintain 4,000. Down to 4,000, 5 Tango Charlie.
Now on a single engine, you're going to land with flaps 15, so it's going to be a much faster approach. Usually around 160 knots it can come out to at that flap range. Move my heading bug to line up with the heading we're going now. This is good practice, especially when you're using ATC and you're not fumbling around with it. If it's already in the heading that you're currently going, you can quickly turn it to whatever you need to.
Contact Oakland Tower 127.2.
And it's just trimming away. Hour and 7 minutes into the flight now. Now we're going to set the flaps 15 for our approach ref. And that's going to put us at 153 plus 5, so that means we'll be landing at 158 knots. I turned off the TrackIR a moment ago. That's why the camera is a little jumpy. It's still, X camera is still using TrackIR, but not at the same time. I've turned off the camera so that the camera is not a smooth pan anymore, but we're going to leave it here. I like it off for the landing. It can get kind of tricky when you're running that. You have to keep your head very still, and that works fine in the GA stuff, but I've found in the airliners it's really difficult when you can't turn your head, and if you are crooked at all, your landing is going to come out crooked, and that is not what I want here today or ever. So that's going off. Sitting at about 180 knots now. Still working on the flaps.
Approach Bonanza 25 Juliet, climbing 5,700 to 7,000.
Approach 25 Juliet, northbound approach, open altimeter 3017.
3017, 25 Juliet.
Slow down to 165. Remember, you want to keep it at 158. Fuel is still looking pretty balanced. It's going to be a little off balance, but not much to be a problem. Right, the flaps are configured. And right now we're going to make our turn for the final approach. Still about 15 miles out. Move the heading bug again. I'm gonna leave it at 300. Arming the spoilers. Don't think we'll need them anymore. We're pretty much set up. And once we get that landing gear out, we're gonna get a little extra drag, so we're gonna adjust the throttle too. We'll be putting that out at the 10-mile radius ring you see there on the map. And we'll arm the approach mode. Oh, thank you, Active Sky. Really appreciate that. That's really been messing up lately. I might have to turn it off. I don't know how low this cloud is. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I don't want to. I hate to do it, but I'm gonna have to shut it off. Which is gonna change the weather and the performance. If I didn't need it any more of a challenge to this. I have to get the speed back under control now because of that. Putting the landing gear down, that'll give us that extra drag.
1,000 to go.
2,500.
New altimeter setting too, but we're just gonna leave it at what it was. That's just one of those PC simming unrealistic problems you might run into. So we're turning the autopilot off. We're gonna hand flight the rest of the way. We're gonna hand flight the last 10 miles. So landing procedure: the approach is armed. Glide slope is alive. Gear down. Flaps 15. Speed brake is armed. And the landing flaps, which will be 15. Runway turnoff lights. Cabin lights is needed. The auto throttle and the autopilot are off, and the auto brake is set, so we're ready to do this approach. Yeah, the other day, Active Sky did the same thing to me. I was on a final approach about the same point, and it loaded in a 1 mile visibility fog suddenly when it had been fine the whole time. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that is kind of annoying.
$1,000 to go.
So we're just trying to get ourselves back on the path there. We have it right there. It's hard to see. It's still a little hazy out, but we're lining up with the runway now. And we're all set for this approach. 5 miles to go. Now, to describe how this feels, it feels like if you've ever dealt with a very, very strong crosswind, that's kind of what it feels like when you're on approach, with power coming out of one side only.
Approaching 30.
500. 400. 300. 200.
Continuing. Not sure why we didn't get the minimums call out.
100.
It's all set.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10,
We're going to close the throttle. Straighten her out. Boom. Center lined it. First thrust is deployed. You only deploy it on the good engine. That's all normal. And of course, spoilers auto brake's going to help you slow down as well. And there we go. We're going to exit the taxiway here. We're going to hold at the point. Let maintenance come over. Take a look before we proceed. Next, let's go ahead and hit the replays, see how we did from several different angles.
One 100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 2500, 2500,
Well, everybody, that's going to do it for the engine failure approach and landing today. Hope you enjoyed that. We're going to be doing a lot more of that on the channel. Like I said, various airplanes, various failures from time to time. It'll be a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite replay angles. Whenever you see a plane spotter that gets this angle, it's always fun to watch. They usually do it on crosswind days, and you really get to see every little fine movement that aircraft makes that you don't get to see from the other angles at all. But always a nice one there. But yeah, that was fun. It was good to practice. I like to practice those a lot more. It's kind of a good challenge. If you're getting bored with the same old stuff, I suggest get into X-Plane 11. Check out those failures. They're easy to apply. You can either time them, have them happen at a certain altitude, or you can fire them off yourself. I think Control F would be the default key, but that's going to do it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Take care.